Hey guys, this is Rurouni K95 here, and once again, for today's anime review is Full Metal Panic Fumoffu. Full Metal Panic Fumoffu is a 2003 anime series, which is a companion series of how it takes place between the original Full Metal Panic and Full Metal Panic the Second Raid, which ironically, Full Metal Panic was animated by Gonzo, which is known for their work on Desert Punk and many other anime titles that were made by Studio Gonzo. But for Full Metal Panic Fumoffu, because it's animated by Kyoto Animation, which is known for their work on Full Metal Panic The Second Raid, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, and many other anime titles as well. Kyoto Animation, on the other hand, has not only worked on how they worked on a couple of Full Metal Panic series of what they were doing, creative work that'll stand the test of time when they ever worked on a couple of Full Metal Panic series like Full Metal Panic Second Raid and Full Metal Panic Fumoffu, because I think that Kyoto Animation has worked on these two series 2 times, especially for a couple of series like Full Metal Panic Fumoffu and Full Metal Panic the Second Raid. 2 are less than the satisfactory results of how, but that's just besides the point of how it goes. Full Metal Panic has 12 episodes. There's only about 17 segments on each episode as well, because it ran from August 25th, 2003 until November 18th, 2003 for I think it's probably about how many months? Like 4 months as well. And yes, this anime series was directed by Yasuhiro Takemoto, who is known for his work on the Full Metal Panic Second Raid series, as well as Lucky Star, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, and many other works that he's known for as well. So, enough of that. So, the plot in the anime series about Full Metal Panic the Fumoffu is about the perils of being a bodyguard, that there is danger at every corner, no one is safe. International terrorists could be waiting in that car. Gangsters might be approached on the way home. Those old ladies who sell snacks every day for the life of how suspicious better to destroy, and these with high yield explosive. I mean, what kind of military nutcase going to a high school in Japan of how he gets? So Suke Sagara, that's the case. On the paper, he's perfectly suited to protect Kaname Chidori with his exceptional record on combat skills, because he's always in for the combat skills. And the problem is that he had no people skills at all. Adopting combat techniques to everyday problems doesn't seem to work very well. There is also a problem for the girl he's protecting, of what he had a lot to do, who likes Osuke enough to try to help him out, but ends up getting involved with the ridiculous problems he invents for himself. Will Jindo High School survive Sergeant Sagara? Or not exactly even close, if they are doomed as well. Yeah, because this is a companion anime series. There is no political intrigue or mecha robots whatsoever, what you expect to see in Full Metal Panic Fumoffu as well. No wonder why of how this deals with the certain case of how they wanted to make this of how a comedy feel rather than a serious mecha political intrigue of how you find something going on in Full Metal Panic Fumoffu. Unlike Full Metal Panic and Full Metal Panic the Second Raid, Full Metal Panic Fumoffu is your typical companion series of how it's being the second season to Full Metal Panic, of how, but that's just how it is, as how it's intended, as how you would expect for this one, as how it goes. For the most intriguing thing is that this is Yeah, this is the first Full Metal Panic Fumoffu series was made by Kyoto Animation rather than Studio Gonzo, of how this goes. Of how you would expect. Now, if this was Full Metal Panic, the original series, then I would have covered up of how the original Full Metal Panic series was made by my Gonzo, of how the series intends. But instead, it was animated. Yeah, but that's the original Full Metal Panic series. Now, if this was Full Metal Panic Visible Victory, then I would have been compelled for another review. It's decided to have it on full blast if we ever want to see one to start with. But it's Full Metal Panic Fumoffu, and that's how a companion series, like this Fumoffu character says Fumoffu, and this Pony character says Pony as well. No wonder there's new characters of how to see what's going on in Full Metal Panic Fumoffu, of how this intends. Things almost goes like finding a needle in the haystack, as how do you expect for a series like Full Metal Panic Fumoffu, and how things just goes on as well for the whole credibility of how it feels out like it's a comedy. And yes, it's basically a spin-off of the original Full Metal Panic series, and this takes place mostly in school rather than some military combat mecha and the political stance feel of how things just go, of how other than you would expect for the series of how they want it intended. Some may like it, some may don't. I mean, if you're a fan of Full Metal Panic, then you're gonna have to start with the series if you want to start with. If you ever see it or not, I mean, if you ever want to rewatch this, as this point of how the series goes. That's the whole thing of how there's some funny moments in there, but I noticed there's some comedic parts in this, but I know it has some moments of how Full Metal Panic Fumoffu has, especially dealing with these types of school life, which it may create some funny moments of how it became a funniest anime series. But on the downside, there's some less action and there's no real storyline. How do they do that? That's how they have to drop the action and the storyline. But this is your typical comedy anime with no action and no storyline of how it's intended. But things just don't go as far as expected for Full Metal Panic Fumoffu. But if it was Full Metal Panic the second raid, then I would have covered up for my previous anime review to look back as well. But it's Full Metal Panic Fumoffu. Yeah, they're basically the same characters in the Full Metal Panic franchise of how this goes, as you would expect it. To see no action and no storyline in Full Metal Panic Fumoffu, well, that's not how it goes for a companion series. Just so, almost in a lackluster type of way of how it goes. I mean, really? There's not that much storyline to go through as well. I mean, the plot in Full Metal Panic Fumoffu, however, it just tells you about Osuke Sagara, who is a far more of the average high school student. Not only he's been trained in his military tactics of how he's been doing, he always puts to his knowledge to put every single applicable situation, as when he confronted with high school, which nothing can stand in his way, when he turns to average high school experience into his own little off-the-wall type of adventures, when his love letters became terrorist threats, and field trips became almost as commando operations. His survival depends on the watchful eye of his best friend and classmate Kaname. So together they may take just to make it out of the high school alive if there's something terrible going on in Full Metal Panic Fumoffu. But that's how So that's my point of the story. There is no action in it. There's no almost storyline in this type of comedy type anime like Full Metal Panic Fumoffu, but there are some comedic parts where, especially the high school karate, especially the karate club master scene when he uses that gun thing as well. But the characters, however, they're I think the characters were decent as well, but Sosuke has his all serious look, especially with his military and combat outfits of how he always has, just to intend it. But the characters were pretty good in Full Metal Panic Fumoffu. They used every same character from the previous Full Metal Panic series, like the original Full Metal Panic series, which is animated by Gonzo, which has more action and more serious storyline of how it's intended. But in this series, this has no action in this. Talk about lackluster feeling as well. The sound was okay. It depends on if you watch it either in Japanese dub, English subtitles, or English dub, because I know the English dub was dubbed by ADV Films as well. But overall, I find the series alright in my opinion, because I thought it was decent, but there was no action, but there is a good plot of how they made it for a hilarious comedy as well. Because I thought the show was almost, as it was supposed to be, almost meh at times. But it can be very funny if they needed more action and had a real plot of how they wanted to make the series how they wanted. Especially the mecha and those more serious action of how Full Metal Panic Fumoffu was intended. But instead, they had to remove all the action, so they wanted to make the series more like a comedy as how the plot feels of how this goes. But I noticed there's some fast moments as well, because I noticed it was almost supposed to be like a filler or a spin-off type series. If they wanted to be like a romantic comedy and did it how they worked on the series, did a really good job, because I thought this series was almost as good as the original Full Metal Panic series. But I know the art was animated by Kyoto Animation. Yeah, because you know what they are as well. Just so to give it a little know as well, I noticed there are some furry characters, like, especially if you know about furries, especially the pony character, the pony who says pony pony in Full Metal Panic Fumoffu. It's like, this is how it's before Beastars was a thing in 2020 at the time, as how it goes. But overall, this series was pretty good, in my opinion. I thought it was okay, in my opinion, but there is no action in it, no serious story plot line of how it's intended, but it turns out to be more like a comedy of how things does not go on the other hand as well. But that's besides the point, though. But it's just what it is, because this is your typical anime series it's just what it is as well. But overall, I'm going to give this anime series a 9 out of 10, because I thought the series was pretty good. But it's been a while since I watched it on DVD, that I watched it at the library on the computer as well, because I find this series almost as decent than any other anime out there. But Full Metal Panic Fumoffu is pretty good, in my opinion, even though I love Full Metal Panic Second Raid and the original Full Metal Panic series. So that's going to be it for my anime review on Full Metal Panic Fumoffu for today's anime review. Thank you for watching. Before we go, here's what I'm saying for this. If you're a fan of Full Metal Panic, give this series a watch, because I thought this anime series was almost meh or decent in my opinion, I guess. Hope subscribe for content. My anime plan link in the description down below. You can share this video on your Twitter and Facebook if you have a Twitter and Facebook account, on all social media. Smack the like button if you enjoy this video. Feel free to leave in the comments in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, RuRoniK95. Feel free to join the channel, especially if you're new to the channel. Smack the notifications bell button. Keep it otaku for this anime review, and I got another anime review coming up next. Stay tuned for my next anime review. I have another anime movie that I'll cover for the next anime review on Night of the Galactic Railroad. Stay tuned for my next anime review on Night of the Galactic Railroad, because you won't want to miss another anime review. And also, happy 4th of July.